What about this? With the Treasurer. He's got a new one. This is unbelievable. Now, you remember for a long time when the reason power prices were high was not at all because Australia's spending billions of dollars in full transition of our energy scheme. It was because of Ukraine.
Russian invasion of Ukraine and the implications of that reverberating around the world with global inflation.
We've got an inflation problem in our economy because we've got a war in Ukraine.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine, as well as supply chain shortages, has had an impact on global inflation.
We've got an inflation problem in our economy because Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine.
Economic consequences of Russia's illegal and immoral invasion of Ukraine.
Well, Grim Jim's got a new one. Now, despite the fact that inflation continues to be too high, so much high that the Reserve Bank is seriously thinking about, yet again, increasing interest rates, that would, of course, be the 12th of his time as the Treasurer, he's got a new reason why everything costs more than it should. It won't surprise you.
Conflict in the Middle East is now another concerning part of the economic outlook.
Oh, now it's what's happening in Israel. Because, of course, Australia's economic relationship with Israel is the largest trading partner we possibly have. And there's so much back and forth between here and Gaza. Seriously? Now, I love the way these people play. Now, he's, of course, going to turn around and say that maybe that's the reason why petrol's going to stay high. Because the Arab states may well end up choking the petrol supply from the rest of the world, particularly the Western world, if it gets in behind Israel, as it obviously seems that they are. I don't know. But that's too complicated to say. So we're just going to pretend that you sitting at home are so stupid with your mouth open, just searching for the next bit of misinformation to gobble up because you're apparently a moron. Despite the fact that you voted the way they wanted you to on same-sex marriage. They voted the way you wanted them to. They wanted you to in 2022, despite the fact that you did what they wanted you to do, which was to elect Labor governments everywhere but Tasmania. But you see, you're off kilter at the moment because you're not saying it's the greatest government of all time. Now, of course, one of the reasons why the Treasurer today decided to pretend that it's all about Israel, our economy at the moment, was because the number of full-time jobs in the country has shrunk. In the past month, more than a football stadium of people lost a full-time job. Now remember, with a full-time job comes holiday pay, sickness pay, domestic violence leave, all of these other things. 39,900 full-time jobs just disappeared, replaced with 46,500 part-time jobs. Now, because one job is replaced with another job, regardless of what type of job, it makes it seem like the economy is completely amazing and therefore unemployment remains relatively low. But the people who actually employ both part-time and full-time people are having a lot of trouble right now. In fact, according to the latest ASIC figures, more businesses are going belly up right now than since 2015. So right now, 2023, the end of 2023, the last bit of 2023, worse than the pandemic, worse than even before then, worse than 2015. ASIC data shows that 2,486 businesses hit the wall in the 3 months to September. That's up 10% on the previous quarter, 21% on the previous year. It is the largest number of insolvencies reported in a single quarter since December 2015. Oh yeah, and one other one. Of course, petrol is one of the reasons why inflation is counted the way that it is, and petrol is up at about, the inflation rate in petrol is the best part of 14%. Of course, they could reduce it by 25% at the petrol bowser because of, or 25 cents I should say, by being able to pull back on the fuel excise, but they won't. Because you see, they need that money for what exactly? They've already told us in the intergenerational report that they expect a deficit every single year for the next 40 years. Oh, you know, where they also expect Australia's population to be 60,000 people. 40 million, there we go. 40 million people by 2060. Sorry, it's been a big week, lots of numbers. Oh, but to dare talk about that means the evils of Trump and immigration. And of course, your power bills continue to go up because of the decision made by this government, shaked on by everyone else when they thought, oh, it was consensus politics. Now, all of these people were fine. They all probably live in teal seats or the inner city green seats of Melbourne and Brisbane. So they championed the idea of not just the 43% when it comes to emissions reduction, but 80% when it comes to renewable energy. And what have I said the whole way through? This needs to be built, which means it's going to cost billions of dollars. And pick your estimate. It can be anywhere between $1 and a lot more than $1 trillion. Well, power prices are expected to go up, in part. Why? Because El Nino is now going to drive up power bills, because you see, as the Bureau of Meteorology have told us, that during an El Nino, when things are drier, there's less wind. So despite the fact that we have to spend billions of dollars for wind to power the country, there'll be less wind because of the weather. Okay, seems like we're making incredible decisions as Australians. But misinformation, misinformation.